Hi guys, very good morning to all of you. Welcome to the video number 435. My name is Ajay Parmar, and today in this video we are going to talk about how to use the data validation with the indirect function. And I'm going to take up one real case study here. One of my subscribers emailed me a question little ago, and I wanted to discuss it with you. It's indeed a very good question, so I hope this is really going to take you to the new heights. And if you do not have any information about the indirect function and the data validation, please go ahead and check out my first of all the playlist Excel indirect function. Now for those who are watching the channel for the first time, I want to tell you that this is the youtube.com/c/Ajay Kumar Parmar, which is my channel, and we have got 434 amazing videos on this channel on Excel, Excel VBA, MS Access and Access VBA, guys. Right, what you need to do is you need to go on the front page of this. When you subscribe to the channel, click on the playlist, and these are the 45 playlists so far which we have created, and they are divided into 4 sections, as I said: Excel, Excel VBA, Access and Access VBA. Now if you want to start in a sequence, if you're not looking for any particular subject, then this is what you need to follow. You can pause the video and you can note it down. This is the playlist which you should follow for Excel VBA, this is the playlist which you should follow for the Excel, and this is for the Access front end, and this is for the Access VBA. Right, now I want to actually come back to the question. Now what is the question? So this is what actually I received from Mr. Modi. Dear Ajay, request your help. I want to insert data validation in the attached files. In the data validation requirement and conditions are as under. So I mean, he has actually given me this kind of a data, right? So I downloaded the file, and I'm just directly going to show you what exactly he's saying. So Mr. Modi is saying that if you have a product 1, product 2, product 3 here, and there are some start numbers, start number, end number. Now what actually he wants to do is he wants to see here a data validation, a drop down, which should give us the number from 11 through 22. And similarly here the drop down again changes to 23 to 35, and then 4 to 10, and then 55 to 75, and then 40 to 46, and then 1255 to 1277, and so on. So this is what exactly we need. Right, now the point is because you can create the data validation. I mean, it's a very simple process. You just go to the data and you click on the data validation, and you click on the list, right? And let's say I can write here, let's say 1 2 3 4 5 or maybe 6, and I can use this data validation. You see that this is what I'm getting here. But guys, the problem is this, that I do not need these static numbers here. As he said, he needs 11 to 22. So maybe I can go back to the data validation. I can edit it, I can write here 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22. But what about the rest of the numbers? Because here you don't need that 11 to 22, so you will have to make every time a different drop down. Are you going to do that? Well, yes, we are going to do that, but not in that way, the way you are thinking, that I go in every data validation and do it manually. No, it's not that. We have a solution for that. So what I'm actually going to do is, first of all, I just get rid of this. Let me just clear all. So all the data validation is gone. Now guys, what we can do is we can quickly we can join these all the products with the start numbers and end number, right? So, or maybe you can write anything else. Maybe you can write code as well. I mean, just and use any word code, and then join this with this 11 to 22. Okay, and then just put the double quotes here. So I'm trying to actually create a formula here which says code 11 to 22 and so on. This is how, right? So we have code 1 to 1122 23 to 35, and then code 410 5575 4076. So we basically created these unique combinations, right? Now what do you need to do? You just need to copy this, and we're going to go in the some another sheet, or maybe here. That's all up to you how you want to do that. Let me just zoom in. Okay, so now I'm going to use this paste special Alt ES, and I'm going to use the value and the transpose so that I can change the direction. I hope you know that tip. This is a very useful tip, right? So go in this, and let me just reduce the size so that we can see that. Now you can see that this is basically the code which is created. Okay, So now I got the codes from the formula, and now what I will do is I will quickly go here and fill in the values. Okay, you're gonna fill in these values from 11. So I write here 11 and I write here 23, and I then go here and I write here 4, and then I go and write here, let's say 55, and then I go here and I can write here 40, and then similarly for this I'm going to write here 1255, and then this is 107. Okay, or maybe a shortcut, the good way would be to just copy this and just put this here in the transpose. That's it. This is also the another option which you can use, guys. There are a number of numerous ways of doing it. Now why I'm doing that? Well, it's actually what I want to do is I want to simply add 1 to it. Okay, so I just drag this. This is how I dragged it, and you see that we have got all the numbers here. So every number is actually an addition to the previous number. So I go and basically I'm just going to drag this. So I go and drag this. So one by one you can drag it, or maybe you can drag all together in one go. So I just go and drag this like this. So for example, this is what I have done. Now what we need here, so we need it till 22, so you just go and remove it. Okay, this is what you can do. You can also put the VBA code here. I mean, there's no need to do all this manually, so suppose when you drag this after doing this manual work, and I think it's not really going to take much of the time. When you drag this, you can put here a macro which is going to do what? It's going to first of all go here, and it's gonna pick up it's gonna start the calculation from 11, and it goes to the last value 22, which it can capture from here, and the moment it sees the 22, the rest of the items it is going to delete. So that's something, I mean, you can do it. That I don't think so there is any problem in that. It's a very simple macro, you can create that. But right now I'm just going to make this manually. So I just go ahead and delete all these numbers. There is another way which I was just thinking that maybe you can do one thing. So once you paste the values here, instead of this getting this sort of this series, we can also do one thing. We can put the comparison here, and the comparison is going to be if this the plus 1, okay, if this plus 1, which is going to be 12, right, if that value is less than equals to this value, which is in the D4, okay, then what you need to do is you just go ahead and add 1 to it. Otherwise you can simply put the space here, right? So I think that way also we can create the series. So you just need to freeze this D4 for this value, right? So I freeze the D4 and I drag this. Let's see what we're gonna get here. Now you look at this. So we got the 22. After the 22 there is nothing coming. Now this value actually shows the error because of the reason the previous value actually is coming blank, right? So you can't really do this calculation because I14 plus 1, it's not gonna make any sense here because this basically is a space, right? So again, as I said, guys, what you can do is you can use the if error here. So I can just automate this task. So I use the if error, and I say that for any error just give me the space. So I'm going to keep this extra buffer, I mean, because you never know what value you will have here. So I can let's say keep this range up till this point, and let me just give it a color so that we know that where basically we are stopping. Let me zoom in a little more. So now this is how it looks like, guys. You see that I have all the numbers changed. The moment I change this to, let's say, 27, you see that the numbers are coming automatically. This is cool, man. This is really very nice, right? So we have automated the task. So if you just writing, if you're gonna have 11 to 15, you see that the numbers are automatically going to change. Perfect. Now the same function you're going to use here, okay, but this time you're going to use it with the D5. So I just go and simply going to copy this function, gonna paste it here, and when you press F2 you just need to change the reference to 35. Okay, I think that's enough, and you drag this and there we go. So I'm just going to drag this function, and so you can drag this to the maximum value, keep the maximum buffer. So we have here values. Let's say we got the values. Yes, we got the values. So we have here 22, 23, 24, 25, which makes a sense. So the same thing now, what I'm going to do is, guys, I'm simply going to quickly copy and paste all the cells here. This is a one-time activity which you can do, and then you will never look back. So I just go and paste this, and now we're going to press F2 and quickly let's go and change the reference. So this is going to be 10, and then again F2, this is going to be 75, and then this is going to be your 646, and then this is going to be your this value, and then we have this value which is 367372. So I think I did some mistake here. Let me check again. So this is a end number, this is the 35, this is okay, so that's the mistake. It should have been 10, my apologies. And this is actually 75, and this is 46. I'm just changing the references, right, because the comparison should happen with every time when you run this formula. It should be a different end number, right? So I go and just change this to, yeah, that's it. Okay, so now time to drag the formula. So I just select this and I'll let me double click here. Okay, so we got the series here and it looks very cool. I think this is pretty cool, right? We have got all the numbers here, guys, and these are all the your basically the name managers which you have created. Okay, now what is the next thing I want to do? The next thing which I want to do is you select your this entire table like this. Okay, and now go to the formula and create the name manager, create from selection. I talked about this in my data validation. You can go and check out those videos, but anyways, in this video also I'm going to explain you. So create from selection. Now what happens, I want to create the name managers basically using these IDs, code 1122, code 2325, 2335, code 410, because when you create the ranges you can easily create the drop downs using the indirect function, because indirect function basically works on the address. So basically my idea is, you know, that these are all the ranges which these are all the, you know, the name, right now they are not the ranges, they are just the text, and I just copied them and pasted them here in the form of the transpose. But the moment I go and, you know, select this entire and I go and write here code 1122, then Excel will treat that code 1122 as a table range which starts from, you know, your I22 and then whatever the last value you have, which in my case it's going to be I41. So then you will tell your indirect function that indirect, what you need to do is you just need to go to this you know, the reference which is A4. Now this is not a text, guys. Right now this is a text. If you press enter it will give you the error, but the moment you create the name manager, the name ranges using these names, Excel will treat them as a table. That's what we are going to do. Now I'm not really going to create every range manually. That first I select this entire range and I go in this and I write code 1122, and then I come back and I select this table, entire table, and then go and write code 2335, or maybe using the name manager also. You know how actually we create the name managers. I'm not gonna do that. There is a very beautiful shortcut key. I just select my entire table like this and I go in the formulas and I create from selection, and make sure you should have your top row checked. If you have a check mark on the left column, please deselect that and make sure this should be checked. So once it is done, now look at this. The moment I press OK, now Excel has created all these name managers for me. Now if you're going to select code 5575, you see that it is selected. So that means that code 5575 refers to this range, and this is what exactly I need, guys, right? So if you select any other, for example this one, you see that it's automatically selecting the relevant data range, and this is what I needed. This is super fun. This is fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Modi, for giving me this question. I hope all of you know, my team, whosoever is watching right now this video, this is really going to take you to the new height, right? So now once we have created well, you can also go to the name manager and you see that these are all created, guys, so you don't have to do any manual work. So now when I click here, that's what it shows me. This is the range. You can see that I can click here and these are all the ranges which are highlighted. Make sure that you do a random check and make sure that it's picking up the right range for you. Now what is the next thing I want to do? Now guys, if you look at this equals to and I write here code, you see that these are all the ranges which are coming in front of you. So they are not going to be a text. This is code 1122. Don't think that this is a normal text. This is a table which refers to, you know what it refers to, right? It refers to this I22 and then whatever we have, I30 or I40, whatever. So that is what we are going to do here. Okay, now when I use the indirect function, this is what I talked about, the indirect function. If you're new to the channel, don't think that I'm really trying to skip this explaining, explanation of these functions, because I don't want to repeat the things for your sake, for the time, to save our time, because I talked about all these functions in my different playlists. So what you need to do is, if you don't know anything about the indirect, guys, you can pause the video, you can go back and you can watch Excel indirect function. And in fact, I think I have shared this playlist with you. This is what is the playlist all about. So when you click on the Excel indirect playlist, you get to see here there I think 4-5 videos, and this is another video which I'm going to upload there. So go and watch the videos in a sequence, the sequence which you find there under this category. So go and watch that video, right? So indirect actually is it just required the address. We just need to have the address. So now what is my address? If I go in the A4 and I press enter, you see that I get the value. Previously I was not getting the value. If you remember, I was getting the reference error, and it's quite obvious, because if I just go and let's say I say that I want to go in the indirect cell, I want to say that this is going to be my cell, which is B4. I press enter, what will happen? In the B4, indirect will go and it will see that what is basically the cell address there, but it sees that in the B4 there is no cell address. It's a product -1, which is a text. When I say cell address, what do I mean? Cell address, obviously, it's a combination of a column and a row. C2, B2, I11, I20, A100, XYZ 100, I1, I2, I3, K11, K20, K100, K1 million. These are all called the cell addresses. So there we don't have any cell address, and that's why when you press enter, indirect sees that the user hasn't actually entered any cell address. So that's why it gives you the error. The moment I change this to maybe, let's say, A4, you know that A4 is not it is a string, but when we talk about the indirect, in the indirect, this A4 becomes the cell address. A4 is a address which we can say that it has a column and 4th row. So the moment I press enter, you see the error will be gone, right? So error is gone actually, and it goes in this B4, and in the B4 it picks up the A4 and it sees what we have gotten in the A4 and it returns that value. So that's basically the logic, guys. So that is why when I said that indirect, you need to go to the A4, it is not going to give you the error. Why? Because this is now not a text, guys. This is a table. You know that, right? When I press this code 1122, you see that it selects this. So this refers to this complete table. If you go to the name manager and you want to have a look from the different angle, you select this code 1122, and when you click here, that's how you get to see here the table. So this is not a string, this is not a text, this is the address. So you get to see here 13, but the point is I never actually wanted to have here a 13 value. Okay, obviously I want a value which starts from 11. That is the first thing, right? Now if I go and select code 112, you see that it basically selects the entire table. Let me just select that again. Look at this, it selects, there's nothing wrong in the selection. The table selects 11, but then why it is coming as 13? Why not 11? Why not 11, 12, 13? The moment I go in the equals to sign and I press F9, look at this, guys. The table, the formula expands. F9 is a shortcut key which we most of the time use to expand the formula, especially in the arrays, and this time the indirect is working like an array because we are using so many cells. So we have got the drop down 11, 12, not the drop down, but we have been able to retrieve the entire table. This is super cool. And if you just drag this, what will happen? You go here and press F9. You see that now the table starts with 23, 24, 25 and so on, guys, right? Why this is coming 23, 24? Because of the reason that now indirect goes in the A5, and in the A5 it finds another cell address, another name manager, another name range, which is code 2335. and immediately it goes to the 2335, which is somewhere here, and it picks up that table. The only thing which is left now is to give this a drop down shape, because this is not a drop down and user will not like to use the F9. It's not actually beneficial for us to use the F9 because we need the drop downs. So same formula you're going to use in the data validation. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this entire table. I go in the data validation and I just go in the list, because from the list you use your data validation, and I'm going to put the same formula here, indirect, and go in this table. Make sure you should remove the dollar from this 4, otherwise what will happen, you will get to see the drop down basis code 1122 everywhere, because A4 is not going to be A5, A6, A7 which you need, because all the name managers are different. So that's why I'm removing the dollar from the 4. Let's go and click OK, and now let's have a look. Alright, so there we go. So we have got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and all the numbers. So the rest of the numbers are blank because of obviously for the reason that basically you have given the extra range, because you never know, the next time you may change this number to maybe 30, or you're also actually looking at the other values. You need to take care of the other values as well. So this is how you create your data validation. Let me just make it a little bigger, and there we go. So now you have your this 12 and 13, the drop down is coming. What about this? So if you look at this drop down, this says 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 guys, and then you have the another thing here which is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So guys, this is working, right? So Mr. Modi, I hope you're enjoying this video, and I know I'm a little late in replying to you, but finally I think the wait is worth, and I hope you will definitely love this video, right? Well, your question was actually so good. So this is how you guys, you have created all the series in front of you. You can see that, right? So I think the things are done here. So every time the indirect goes in these series, and it picks up this table. Now this table you can create in any other sheet as well, or maybe you can hide this as well. That's all up to you. Okay, now for example, now what happens the next time, suppose you have done some changes here. These are the series which are created, but let's say you created this 11 to 15. That's what you have done it here. Now when you create this 11 to 15 guys, you see that this is automatically going to change, because this formula basically is dependent upon this value. The moment it comes here, you know that what I have said is, I said that if 15 plus 1, which is this I6 plus 1, if that is going to be less than and equals to this value, then only add 1 to it. Now in this case, 15 plus 1 will make it 16, and 16 is, that it's greater than 15, so it goes in the space, and that's what we get to see here. So now automatically, if you click back on this, on this drop down, let me click back here on this drop down. So now you see that I'm not able to click here. You can pause the video and you can think that why the data validation is not working, but here it is working. Here also it is working. You can see that I'm pressing Alt down arrow. By the way, I don't have to use the mouse, right? You can use the Alt down arrow key to expand this. Okay, but the point is, why it is not working here? I'm trying to click here. Look at this, guys. Why it is not working? What is the reason? Well, the reason is your data validation which you created, that was by the name of code 1122, but now it is changed to 1115 guys. That is the problem. Okay, that is the problem. So 1115, if you're going to change, you have to make sure that this should also be 11 to 15. Okay, or what you can do is you can quickly go to this this basically the formula, and you can simply go and create this name manager here. You click on the name manager, and now 1122, you just need to go and edit this. You need to edit this by 15. So I'm just going to edit this by 15, 1115. That's what I'm gonna do. Click OK. 1115 is created. You can see that it's basically has the same name, and now just to be on the same page, you just do the change here as well. okay, and when I click back here, I should be able to see my all the numbers. You can see that now 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 is coming. Okay, this is how you can actually, you know, create the name manager. Now I know that for some of you this might be this is a good option, but maybe I know, because I'm also thinking the same way as you might be thinking, that this is also a manual step, right? So guys, you know what you can do is, I think whenever you change any number, for example, if I just change this number to 13, well, this 11, 12, 13 is automatically going to change, no doubt about that. But then what you can do is you can simply go and copy this, because this is a formula and you have here 11, 13 now from 11, 15. Just go here and paste the value and transpose. This you can record the macro as well. Click on the button and this is going to pick up all these values, and it's going to paste all these values here through a macro, right? And then in your macro, what you can do is you can delete all the name managers, existing managers. You can create that button and again just select the entire table, create from selection, and you just click on OK, and this is what, you know, the macro can do for you, because this is a very easy task. You can create the button for that as well. Otherwise, I think manually also it's not going to take more than 10 to 15 seconds. So now we have created a new range. So if you click here, you get to see here 11, 13 is created automatically. And then if you look at this code 115, now the problem is code 115 is also created, which is not available in this list, because you remember code 11 basically if I select this 115, look at this, it's not basically even going in that range, because now 115 doesn't exist. We don't have 115 here, right? So if you go in the name manager, just to get rid of these, you know, you can delete them manually also, or you can follow the previous process, just edit it if you don't want to delete it. That's all up to you, right? I'm just telling you, rest of the values will remain as it is, because they are already created, so you will not find them again, you know, recreated, because 2335 410, there are no changes in this. However, if I go and change this 4 to, let's say, maybe 16, now what I do is, now you see that the moment I created this becomes 416, so I have to actually put that here, that 416. So instead of copying the single table, I again copy the entire table and I go and say that alt TA space special, and in the values I use the transpose. You have your now 416 pasted, and you select the entire table again, and you go to the create from selection and you say top row and press OK. It takes only, I think, 10 seconds for me to do that. Very simple. Maybe you don't really need the macro for that, right? Now once you have done that, if you go to the name manager, you get to see here 410, which was the old one, you remember? So you can simply go and delete that, right? You can delete that, and then you can delete the previous one as well. This is also not required. So that's basically all up to you. Why I'm saying that you should delete that, because, you know, if you're working on this data validation regularly, and if this undergoes frequent changes, then unnecessarily you will have so many data the name managers created. So make sure you keep on deleting them. In that way, I mean, the macro is going to be a good help, because macro can simply remove all the name managers, right? And then every time it creates from the scratch. So that is also the another option, right? But this way you can create your beautiful drop downs, right? Now if you look at this 4 to 16, if I click here and if I scroll up, you see that what I'm seeing here is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 16, 17, 18. Alright, so this is not coming correct. What is the reason for that? Well, let's see. First of all, we'll go to the 416, and in the 416 now, if I have a look here, so guys, this is coming wrong. This should ideally stop here. So let me press F2. I think my formula is wrong actually. It's comparing with the 35. It should compare with the 16, right? So I don't know what went wrong. This is 16. Oh, I think I didn't actually drag the formulas, guys. Let me drag the formula here. Yeah, that's how it is. I think I forgot to drag the formula. Now this is perfect. Now if I press F2, you see that it's basically linked with the 16. So now I come back here and I press here drop down, in the drop down, and now we have here correct value, right? So in this way you can also modify it. If it is not going to undergo these changes, then I think you're perfect. There's no need to use any VBA coding for that, right? This one-time table will work for you. So to summarize, in the end of the video, what we did is very beautifully we concatenated these 11 and end number with the code. You can write anything, that really doesn't matter. I just used the code word, and then we made, you know, all these the text entries here. Then what we did is we just copied and put it here on the top, and then on the top the first thing which I did is I just use this, I copied this and transpose this here, because these are the starting numbers. And to automate this, so that I should not be dragging this every time and changing the numbers, I simply link this with the end date of each start number, corresponding start number. So I said that if the previous value, which is 11, if I add 1 to it, and if that is going to be less than or equals to the end number, then I'm very much happy with keeping that number, which is 1, you know, an addition to the previous value. So you get to see here 12. And similarly for 13, the moment it comes here 14 is greater than 13, so we have a space here, and that's why. And for the other, you know, for the errors, we use the if error to keep this data validation neat and clean. So these numbers, we automated it. We never need to now worry about it. I kept my extra buffer. You can see here extra buffer, right? This is the extra buffer, because I know this, after this table there will be no number. I because you always have your data, you know that what is the maximum, the minimum value of the data, you know it. So if you have a more, if you think that it can go up to 500, you just you know keep that extra buffer. That's it, right? So these numbers are automatically going to populate it. Then I simply selected the entire table, and I just selected the table, and I used this create from selection, and on the top row I press OK. So the name managers are automatically created by Excel for me. Otherwise, if you let's say if you're not going to use this option, or if you do not know this option, then you have to go every time manually. You got to select this table, and you got to write here code 1113. Then you need to, or maybe you can use the name manager. You click on the new and you write here some, let's say ADFC, and then what it refers to. Then you're going to select that range in this way, and then you press OK, and this is how. So it's going to take a lot of time, because we have here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 name managers. 8 are not, I'm not saying that 8 are too much, right? They are too many, but if you have, let's say 18 20 sort of these codes, then definitely you will not like to do this manual task. So there we use the create from selection option, and that's it. And then we simply went in the data validation, and we said that I'm just going to use the indirect function, keeping my $sign removed from the row part, so that when I drag this formula, it changes to A4, from A4 to A5, and then A6, and then you know A7, A8, and so on. That's how you can create all this data validation. So once again, Mr. Modi, thank you so much for giving this wonderful question and sharing with us. I hope everybody who is watching this video right now will be jumping, and will be jumping with the joy, because this basically is a very classic video, right? Very classic example. Thank you so much for staying tuned, and I hope you will subscribe to the channel to support me. I'll talk something more exciting very soon in my next videos. Thank you so much for watching, and guys, have a fantastic learning. Bye bye.